Did you know that the inventory in South of 5th condo market is staggeringly low, especially when you compare it to other parts of Miami? We just did a study of all the condos in South of 5th, and all the condos have less than 5% of their inventory on the market, an extremely low number. In other parts of town, you'll see buildings with 10 to 20%, even higher, of their inventory on the market. In South of 5th, the highest building was just 5.8%. This shows that the South of 5th condo market is very strong, it's very stable, and there's many reasons for that, and we're gonna get into it today. Hello everyone, I'm David Vazquez with the David Siddons Group. Today we're standing in one of my listings in South of 5th at Murano Grande. This is closing today, actually. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath with this phenomenal water views. But today we're talking about the whole South of 5th market as a whole, the condo market, of course. So, getting right into it, we're gonna talk about the beachfront condos, the Bayfront condos, and the inland condos. But we have to start with the crown jewel, which is Continuum. This is the only true beachfront condominium high-rise in South of 5th. Continuum is the best building and the most amenitized building in South of 5th. It's the only one that has true beach access and beach service. It's also on a 12-acre site right on South Point. You have over 3 pools, you have a state-of-the-art gym, and it's just a huge grand property, tennis courts, restaurant. It's phenomenal, it's fully gated. It's definitely the best building in South of 5th. The entry point into Continuum is $2 million. This will get you a very small studio, which they were selling very back in the day, early on pre-construction, that was made for kind of like hotel suites for their guests. This will get you 650 square feet. That's entry point into the Continuum, and you could go as high as 30 million for the larger units with unobstructed water views. Now, Continuum has 521 units total between North and South Tower. Only 4% of the building is on the market. Again, a number that we'll see throughout all the South of 5th buildings is very low. An average healthy market is anywhere from 5 to 8% of active inventory. 10% higher, it's getting a little bit into buyer's territory, and 3% or lower, you're looking at a very strong seller's market with very low inventory. Continuum is 4% of active listings in the building. Not a lot to choose from, and typically when something is renovated and done nicely, it sells very quickly. Moving from the beachfront buildings, we're now going to discuss the bayfront buildings. So most of South of 5th condos are actually on the bay and not necessarily on the beach, so you don't have beach access, unlike Continuum. These buildings are Portofino Tower, Apogee, the Yacht Club, Murano Grande where we are, Murano Portofino, and the Icon South Beach. So going in order from north to south, we're going to start with Icon South Beach, which is just north of us right here. Icon South Beach, entry level to get in is $1 million price point. This will get you like an 800 square foot 1-bedroom. No balcony on that 1-bedroom, but most of the units here are 2, 3, and 4 bedrooms, ranging anywhere from 1.5 million to 4.5. Big combo units could sell up to 7, 8 million. The price per square foot at Icon South Beach is about $1,350 per foot, actually making it a very good bargain for a South of 5th condo with water views. In terms of inventory, it's extremely low. Only 2.4% of the building's inventory is on the active market, meaning 7 listings active of 289 units. Very, very limited options. Oftentimes these units are the same ones that have been in the market for years, that they're not renovated, they're overpriced. What happens when a nice unit hits the market, priced correctly, flies off the market. That moves us to Murano Grande, which is kind of like a sister building to Icon South Beach, built around the same time. Murano Grande does not have a 1-bedroom, so it's a higher barrier of entry. Murano Grande's 2 bedrooms start at 1.4 million, and then most of the units are 2, 3, and then you have some larger 4 bedrooms. So you can range from 1.4, 1.5 million entry level to all the way to 8 million, but really the sweet spot is $3, $4, $5 million in the building. It sells for $1,400 a foot. Very similar to Icon. So it's a little bit set back off the MacArthur Causeway, making it a little bit quieter than certain lines at the Icon South Beach. At Murano Grande, there's only 13 units on the market out of 270 total units. That means it's 4.8% inventory on the market. Again, a very low number, something that we'll see throughout all of the South of 5th condos. I wasn't even aware, I knew inventory was low, but I wasn't even aware it was this low until I was doing this market study. From Murano Grande, we go south and we're going to the Yacht Club condo building in South of 5th. Yacht Club is the entry-level building to South of 5th condos if you want water views, if you want to be in a high-rise and fully amenitized. Why is it the entry level? All the units are 1 bedrooms or 2 bedrooms, with the exception of a few penthouse floors that are 3 bedrooms. And even the 2 bedrooms are smaller 1,100, 1,150 square foot, 2 bedrooms. So the entry level into Yacht Club, you're gonna be anywhere from 700,000 as high as 1.5 for a 2 bedroom. So it's not a huge price tag, where entry level into Icon, Murano, and other buildings is basically 1.5. That's the top of the Yacht Club. You still get some nice water views, you still get great buildings. Because Yacht Club has smaller units, it's a bigger building in terms of unit complex. You have 361 total units there. But again, inventory is very low. Active inventory is only 16 units on the market, making it 4.4% of the entire building on the market. Moving towards our next building, Murano Portofino, at the very corner, south of 5th. You get some amazing water views and downtown Brickell sunset views from the O1 line at Murano Portofino. The Murano Portofino is a boutique building. It's only 189 units. The active inventory is only 3 units on the market, making it 1.6% of the building on the market. Staggeringly low number. Now, the building is going through a renovation. They're redoing some pools. So maybe one could argue that some owners are waiting to the renovation to be done to potentially sell because it'll be worth more. I agree, but still, it's not gonna be a huge number. It's gonna be maybe a few more units come on the market. And again, the units that are done nicely, it's a very common theme in all these South of 5th condos. All of these buildings were built 20 years or before, so there's a lot of outdated units. But when a nicely done renovated unit comes on the market, it sells quickly. Murano Portofino, entry level is gonna be $2 million. And it could go up to 10 million, excluding penthouses. The price per square foot gets a little bit higher compared to Murano or Icon. You're approaching 2,000 a foot at Murano Portofino, and that's just simply because it's a smaller building, but the location is more in the thick of South of 5th, where most buyers want to be. That leads us to one of the best buildings in all of South of 5th and in all of Miami, the Apogee. Oftentimes when buyers with a really high budget are shopping in South of 5th, they're looking at Continuum and they're looking at Apogee. The starting entry price point at Apogee is $8 million, and it goes up to 20, 25, 30 million. Why? One, extremely private. It's the most private building in all of South of 5th. Two, only 67 units, large floor plans. All the units range from 2,500 square feet to 4,500 square feet. Deep, large balconies, they're all flow through, so you get multiple angles throughout all the units. Apogee on average sells for about 3,500 per foot, but we've seen units trade closer to 4,000, even pushing just above 4,000 a foot. In terms of inventory, only 3 units are on the market at Apogee out of 67 units, making it 4.4% of active inventory on the market in the building. Again, we're the same theme, that everything is under 5% of the active inventory on the market. Extremely low numbers. This leads us to our last Bayfront condo in South of 5th, which is likely the most iconic one with its coral structure, is the Portofino Tower. In my opinion, Portofino Tower is actually undervalued right now. It's trading at around $1,250 a foot compared to other buildings nearby that are trading over 2,000, 3,000 a foot. It's in the heart of South of 5th, walkable to everything. You're in front of South Point Park, you're a stone's throw away to the beach, and yet it's trading at $1,250 a foot. This could be maybe because they've had a lot of construction over the last 5, 7, almost 10 years, but most of that is basically wrapped up by now with a new lobby, new driveway, new pool, new impact windows and balconies. Everything is basically done in the building. Now, the building is a little bit older, built in 97, so a lot of the units are a little bit more outdated, need work. But again, there is tons of value in this building. The entry level into Portofino Tower will be around $1 million for about a large 1 bedroom. And then it could go up as high as 10, 15 million for the larger units. But the average, again, is gonna be in that $2 to $4 million range. In terms of inventory at the Portofino, only 12 active listings of 206 total units. Very small building in terms of unit size. And that's 5.8% of active inventory on the market, making it the highest of all the inventory out of all these buildings, but 5.8% is very, very healthy for a building. It's just that all the other surrounding units are so low in inventory. That wraps up all of the bay-facing buildings. And the last buildings that I just want to touch, and it's just, I'm not going to get into building by building like I did in the Bayfront, but will be the inland condos. So the inland condos, you're not going to have these beautiful water views. They're mainly low to mid-rise, anywhere from 4 stories to 8 stories. You have your One Ocean, your Marea, your Cosmo, your Courts, 300 Collins, Glass House. Again, these are inland buildings that are very walkable, but you're not getting the views. In terms of price per square foot, Sometimes they compete with buildings like the Yacht Club. They're about 1,000 a square foot. Some buildings, the newer ones like One Ocean and Maria, they trade higher, but on average, they're about 1,000 a foot. You're not getting views like I mentioned, but you are getting in the thick of where all the restaurants are, all the shops are, all the coffee shops, the gyms, everywhere you want to be is right basically at your doorstep. The entry level into like the inland, like let's say the Cosmo, the Courts, you're looking at 500,000, and it could go as high as 7-8 million if you're at One Ocean or Maria. And again, inventory for these buildings is quite low. It's the same theme as these other buildings. When something is done nicely, it usually sells quickly. So I gave you all the numbers. What does this mean? Basically, the condo market in South of Fifth is extremely stable, and it's a very, very safe market. You can look at other markets and they're doing maybe not great. And if you read headlines, the condo market in Miami is crashing, oh my God, that's mainly to do with older 1950s, 1960s buildings. But if you look at the numbers in South of Fifth, inventory is extremely low. Buyer demand is still very high. So if you're a seller, what does that mean for you? That means you have a great investment, one. That means two, if you want to sell it and get a really high top dollar, it's still a market to do so. You're not in a buyer's market just because the New York Post says that you're in a buyer's market, not in South of Fifth. It's absolutely still a very low inventory market where a seller can still sell for top dollar. Now, if you're a buyer, what does that mean for you? Easy. If you're looking to be in South of Fifth, there's not going to be new inventory built. There's no more land to build condos. There's been one new building in the Miami Beach, South Beach building built in the last 5 years. That's 5 Park, only 250 units, and it's not even considered South of Fifth. It's north of Fifth Street. So there's no inventory that's coming that's ever going to compete with these kind of views, which is why these units and these properties and investments have done so well over time. They basically operate as a single family residence where you can't build new inventory. You can't introduce new inventory into the market that will drop the prices. So if you're a buyer and you want to be in South of Fifth, just know long term, it's still going to keep appreciating over time. And if you find a unit that you like and checks all the boxes and has the views and it's renovated or maybe needs a little bit of work, don't try to lowball. If you're gonna lowball the offer, you won't get it. A perfect example is the unit we're standing in today. This is a 2-bedroom at Marano Grande. This is gonna be closing for $2,325,000, a price that most people couldn't even fathom 4 or 5 years ago. But today, that's basically the standard price for a 2-bedroom. We recently sold another one for 2.3 earlier in the building. We have another one another comp that sold for 2.5. So this unit, 2-bedroom, 1,400 square feet, you're looking at 2.3 upwards. This unit does need a little bit of work. If you're fully renovated, you're looking at 2.5, 2.6, but we had multiple offers in the first couple weeks of showing. And really, ultimately, the buyer that ended up buying the unit was someone that they knew what they wanted, they had been looking, and they didn't want to play with the low ball offers coming in at 1.8 million. So if you're a buyer looking in the South of Fifth market, if something comes up and you like it, jump on it because it will sell quickly. So if you want to learn more about the South of Fifth condo market, this is a market I've been selling for over 10 years. In Marano Grande by itself, this is going to be the 5th or 6th transaction we've done in the last 10 months. We've done Icon, we've done Yacht Club, we've done Apogee, all the units you could think of. We know this market extremely well. Feel free to call me, text me, anytime, email me. Happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.